January 9, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. It's kind of what the chart looked like today. So it's just kind of a spike up. For the most part, a sideways consolidation move. There was two legs down and then another final leg push down, two legs up, push down, another sideways, a leg up, push down, sideways, another leg up. So it's just a lot of choppiness, kind of how I drew up the charts today. And I did manage to take one trade, which is right here. It was profitable. And then I found maybe, well, a total of maybe just three trades. Other than that, as par for the course, the day was just, it was kind of slow, meandering, because you can look at from the timestamp of 6:30 Pacific Standard all the way to about 8:30. So if I just drew this gigantic line from about 6:30 to about 8:30, or even 9 o'clock, this is 3.5 hours of trading. And then from here, this is another roughly 3 hours of trading. You could tell like there wasn't much price action happening today. So uh, kind of not too surprised because the whole week has been, I don't know, very slow, kind of tricky and tough. So the only economic data that came out today was around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. It was the, I guess, the non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and then around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard is about right here. Maybe it caused this big drop, maybe it didn't. It was the consumer sentiment. So I'm going to get into the setups right now. So on the pre-market, you had this push down, push break of this orange down channel, kind of sideways consolidation, then this green up channel moving up. There was an overshoot, push down on this orange down channel, break, sideways consolidation, and now this is the open of the regular trading hours. So it looks like a sideways consolidation. Really, I mean, if you're doing the technical counts, there's second entries everywhere, but they're not very high probability second entries. They're very kind of like risky, or they're just lacking in some way. So if you do start the count reset here, because technically you have a new low, first entry short, second entry short, new low, first entry short, pullback. You have a second entry short right here, decent signal bar, but this isn't a setup that's really anything. It's not really worth taking because this is really early in the day. Decent signal bar, but that's all you have to go with. And the bias is, when you see this in real time, it's hard to really know what's going on. Even if you had, like I did, this orange up channel drawn up, it's hard to trust right now because it's just, this was developed with quick succession, quick touches here. And you need a little bit more spacing between your swings to kind of trust the channels in play, because this could easily also be in a range, but you don't know that. The prices move up, break, starts chopping sideways. You have new high, first entry long, pullback. You technically got a second entry long here, but this is bad signal bar below the EMA. EMA is not super reliable at this right now, but you just don't really have anything going. Pushes up, pushes down. I drew this as a potential trading range. I did have it higher, but so actually it was initially about this high. Prices continue moving. So new low, first entry short, technically have a second entry short inside bar here. I'm not liking this because you'd be shorting into the support area. Visual first entry short pullback, second entry short again. This is your signal bar, it's inside bar, not the best. Looks like it's two legs up, pullback, another attempt at the high, pushes back down, and finally breaks out and through. I ended up dragging this down here because I could get more touches. I think I actually had it a little bit lower, something right about here, because you had more touches, but I quickly abandoned. So right here, that's when I brought it down. But right here, when it breaks out, it doesn't look like it's a failed breakout. I kind of abandoned the idea that this range is valid. Well, it could be valid, but it's no longer important. Pushes down on this orange down channel, break, pushes up. I had this tighter initially. Let me go ahead and drag it here. Oh, it's kind of done something goofy. But it was initially cutting through where this midline was, or a little bit lower, but it didn't really set up for anything. So you do have localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short is a doji, not really a big fan of that. Pushes up, you do have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now, actually I'm gonna go ahead and redraw this because initially I had something closer to, if I can get it, this. Color it in, tweak it a little bit. So this is my initial channel. Confirms pretty nicely on the bottom. There's a small break here, but I attributed, I mean, I didn't really take that into account because I said it fits so nicely everywhere else. It fits on the high side. So I'm just watching this for a break and potentially a test of the high. Whoa. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. I'm going to go ahead and, wow. That was not supposed to happen. I'm not sure why I did that. I think it was something happened with Ninja Trade and it just grabbed and jetted my channel way over there. But okay, so this was my channel initially. So just if you counted this as a potential key entry point, it still doesn't have a decent signal bar. Pushes all the way up, so it's confirming pretty nicely. Pushes down. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long, second entry long. This could be testing the high. The thing I didn't really like about it is it didn't touch the EMA, and it already broke through. So yes, I'm expecting a test of the high, but it might not happen. I wanted a more confirmed setup, so I waited for a higher low. Pushes up. Now it's pushing to the high of day, so I'm just kind of waiting. At this point, I was thinking, could it actually have been here? Now, if I had this initially, then I think I might have jumped in on this trade. Unfortunately, I didn't have this because I didn't like that the confirmations didn't touch, or the channel up didn't touch here. It did touch here and it did touch here, but it's already after the fact. So the way I drew it here, it would have been a possible trade. But initially, the way I was playing the channel, something closer to this, so I can't really go back in time and tell myself that was a better channel. So it looked like it confirmed pretty nicely here, confirmed at the low side. So I saw this as a fail break. Maybe it was going to test the highs. I mean, it kind of does. But if I had it drawn like this initially, then I think it would have been a possible trade, something I might have jumped on. But I didn't quite have my channel drawn like this incorrectly because, again, as I said, it didn't really confirm too well down here. The prices move to the high side, or the high of day, comes back down. First entry long, pull back. You technically have a second entry long, but this also just looks like one big move down. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Plus, you'd be buying on the underside or the low side of the EMA. Prices move down. Looks pretty nice on this orange down channel. And it finally has a first entry short pullback, second entry short. Second entry short. I actually thought this was a possible trade. It is aggressive though, because it's a break of the orange down channel. I'm expecting a test of the low. It has a strong engulfing bar, because technically it's hard to see. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and move the chart over. You can see that it actually moved up one tick and then flushed down. The thing that made me not want to take this trade is it did pull back at the last minute. If this had closed at the low side, I think I would have jumped on this trade because then it'd be first entry short pullback, second entry short, nice signal bar. This is a decent signal bar, but again, it's a little more aggressive. So I wanted to wait for a lower high. And then you get your lower high. So prices continue to fall through. It's a break of this orange down channel. It's one attempt at the low. It doesn't make it. This is a second attempt. If this one didn't tick one tick above, but it was strongly engulfing, it does close a little bit nicer than this one. And I looked at it and I said, if there's a resistance here, there's enough for 1 point scalp. So I waited for this one to close, entered right at the lows here, going for a very conservative 1 point scalp. Boom, got it. I wasn't really going to try to push for two, although two, you just barely make it. I mean, you might not, anything could happen, but at least enough and confident enough for a 1 point scalp. No runner, just take the whole position off because I know there's something here. It might be supported. That pushes back up. If I did stay around for something more, like you might have gotten a 2 point scalp here for sure. But if I stayed longer or I got a worse entry, this candle would have stopped me out. Prices then move up on this orange up channel. That's the high and it continues. I'm thinking, could this be a potential resistance, a little break of this orange up channel? It's tested the high. Is it going to give or provide a small little correction? It doesn't. It kind of moves sideways. So now I'm just sitting on my hands again. Pushes down. Technically, you have a new high. It's a first entry long, potential second entry long, but I don't like the signal bar. This is a better setup, but this is inside to this. So it negates this nice potential setup bar. Again, this is inside of this guy. Well, these two are inside of this guy. So now it's just telling me the market is not exactly sure if it wants to keep going up to test the highs. And EMA is going to support, it's going to break down. So it just tells me to sit on my hands and wait. Break through, break of the green down channel, break, test the low. just getting choppy and noisy. I marked this because I thought, okay, localized high, even if you did the proper count, you said from high here, first entry long pullback, second entry long, to restart the count from here, you do have a first entry pullback, second entry, and then you have a potential higher low. With the higher low, so the EMA isn't reliable, so you don't have to give it too much. Um, you don't have to take it into fact. You don't have to take it as a factor too much right now, but it is still there. The thing I wasn't too sure of is this feels a little congested. If I was going to go for a long, there is some kind of resistance being obeyed here, if not at least slightly briefly. Something here. So it's not the cleanest setup. I'm not enthusiastic about taking it, especially when I already had a profitable trade for the day. And knowing the history of the week has been kind of choppy. Looking at the pre-market, there weren't that many candles printed. So I wasn't going to risk it on a mediocre setup, but I marked it because it was tempting at the time. This, I didn't know that this is going to happen, but if I was going to take this trade after this one closed, I probably put it at the highs here or waited for this candle to break above, put it at the high, hope it comes back, picks me up. But as you can see, even if I did it that way and waited for this guy, it doesn't really give me that much confidence because you don't know this is going to show up. So if this one wasn't panning out, I likely would have canceled it. So it would have been a no trade, I believe, anyways, for me. Prices continue moving up. I first was playing this channel that colored in to make it green, and then it broke, moved, topped around. Then I thought maybe there's this pink channel in play. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is a three-touch confirmation of this pink up channel. It looks like it is two legs down. EMA is kind of in play. The only thing I didn't really like was this candle, although it's bullish, it's red. So I'm looking for a higher low, ideally in the next couple candles. It's going to break above, come back down, break below whatever previous candle it is, touch this, and then have a strong close at the high. But on top of that, I'm going to ask for it not to get too close to here. So that's a lot to ask for, and it doesn't happen. And if it did happen, I mean, it would be pretty fantastic, but that is asking a lot for a setup. On this, where this setup was so close to the highs, it was kind of like a low probability it was going to happen. But if it did happen, I think it would have been a high probability setup. Prices then continue moving, break. You technically have a new high, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. Let me try to move this guy. I didn't want to move. Let me move him over. I'm having trouble with this arrow. There we go. Looks like a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I was thinking it looks more like a visual first entry because this candle never broke below this guy. This guy never broke below this guy. So it's more like a first entry pullback, potential second entry, potential triple test. But you really can't count this one. So it'd actually be one attempt down, maybe a second attempt, maybe a third. But it was looking kind of tempting at the time. But I just didn't like it for whatever reason. It looked like it would have maybe gotten, let's see, this is exactly 4 ticks, so it's debatable whether you would have gotten whether I would have gotten a scalp before this flush down. Then prices continue moving down this yellow down channel. Go ahead and clear this up. No clean setups, no favorable second entries. Pushes back up to the high. It's a first entry short. Then it kind of just meanders. There's a second entry short here. It's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Although you have a second entry long that looks like it's about to fail, and you have a second entry short, this just doesn't look very clean. All these candles previously were just congested, so I'm staying out of that. Prices then move. EMA looks like it's kind of holding now, but if you look at from this timestamp, which is 11:03 Pacific Standard, to about here, which is 11:39, this is 30 minutes of price action, and look how much it's moved. It moved from roughly let's say 7,009 to about 7,013. So this is 5 points of movement in 30 minutes with candles that aren't very encouraging to try to take a trade. But it continues moving up, pushes down. I drew this transparent channel because I thought there might have been something in play. It looks like it's two legs down. Unfortunately, it doesn't set up for a nice second entry long. Then it already tests the high, so I'm not looking for a higher low now. I'm just being extra cautious. Then it pushes down. And then you can already look at the timestamp. This is where prices really slow down, so there wasn't that many candles. And it pushes down and into the close. So I'm pretty I'm pretty happy I got this one trade, slow progress. And like yesterday, well, yesterday I did trade. I took one trade and I was profitable, but it wasn't easy going. Just this whole week has been, I don't know, very challenging, at least to me, because it felt like it was trappy. Volume was low. Setups were always almost there, but for one reason or another, they just failed the all the checklist items. So hopefully next week I think volume picks up. We're getting into earnings season again, so that should at least add some volatility. And I think later this month there might be another FOMC rate decision. So hopefully that was helpful.